out your wardrobe and curating a personal style that you truly love does not need to break the bank. And instead, true style comes when you understand your budget, you understand how to find something really beautiful and high quality at any price point, and then you have a mix of both high and low. So in today's video, to highlight that, I wanted to showcase Abercrombie and some things that I've gotten there recently that have really impressed me as a way to demonstrate how you can keep these points in mind and find something really great regardless of your budget. Also, this is not sponsored. I just have an Abercrombie near me. I've popped in a couple times and been really impressed. So these are also things that you can use regardless of where you're shopping and at any budget to keep in mind as you curate your personal style. So let's get started. So anytime you're shopping, one of the first things you want to consider is the fabric that something is made of. And I find this to be really true if you're shopping at a place that you're maybe unfamiliar with, or you're working at maybe a lower price point. So you can do this by considering the fabric content and actually looking for natural materials. But I like to take it one step further and I actually run my hands along things. So I'll hold things up, touch them, feel them, get a feel for how that's going to feel if I'm actually wearing it, and ultimately try to find something that feels really soft to the touch and hangs really nicely. As long as something has a really beautiful drape and a really soft skin feel, that tends to look a lot better and also bring you enjoyment when you're wearing it, so you don't feel like you're sacrificing and you're not having to compromise on the comfortability of something even though you're working at a lower price point. So the next thing that you want to consider is the color, and when you're working at a lower price point specifically, it's a little bit harder to get a really rich, beautiful dye because that's expensive, so a lower price point tends to work with lower quality dyes. It's also why it's recommended to stick to neutrals at most price points because those are harder to mess up. So it's going to be a little tricky to find a really rich, beautiful magenta, for example, if you're working at the $25 to $50 price point. But that said, if you are looking for something that's got a nice even finish and you don't see any wear and everything just looks really gorgeous, that can be a nice thing to consider at any price point because typically that will wear really well. And then also what's most important here is that you're finding a color that's going to work really well with your wardrobe so that you can bring that into your closet and then style it in a way that's very personal to you and gives you that really beautiful cohesive look. Once you considered the fabric and you found something that's either a really nice material or just feels really good against the skin, then you've moved on to the color and chosen something really versatile for your wardrobe and something that looks really nice and even and finished, then you're going to move on to the pattern. And typically if you are working at a lower price point, patterns can be a little bit tricky, so going for something solid is most often going to be a better option. But if you are working within patterns, things like stripes tend to be really good, and also some floral patterns, and then also polka dots. But the most important thing is that the pattern is lining up nicely. So you can make some sacrifices here, and on the shoulder seam it doesn't have to be perfect, but if you have something like this top, for example, with a pocket on the front, try to find the pocket that has the stripes kind of running evenly throughout it, so there's no real clear break between that pattern. And then also, typically, if you're looking at a floral print, it can be kind of hard to find floral prints at a lower price point because the color tends to not be there, the cohesive pattern overall tends to be sacrificed a little bit, and the dye tends to not be as rich to give it that really gorgeous effect, but it is possible. So if you find something that has a beautiful floral print in a great color palette and something that works with your wardrobe, definitely scoop it up. Because I had a jacket quite a few years ago from Zara, and it wasn't that great of quality, so it has since been retired, but the colors were gorgeous. The pattern was really even, everything lined up really intentionally, and I wore that constantly, and I loved it so much. So now you can move on to the fit, and the fit is something that has two categories. The first is totally subjective and the look that you're going for, so like the top that I'm wearing today, it doesn't technically fit me based on traditional fit standards, but it's giving that oversized effect in a way that I feel really comfortable with, so it's something that works within my wardrobe. But here you can also consider traditional fit requirements, and something that I've been really impressed with is the variation of petite and then tall options at a place like Abercrombie. So as you know, I'm petite, and finding petite sizing can be really tricky. Sometimes it's not in the cut that I want or the color that I want, but the fit is right, and so I don't want to sacrifice on one or the other. So finding something that fits you perfectly is going to be so important in this, and it makes a really big difference in how great that piece looks. And I find this to be also really, really true for pants, skirts, and then also dresses. Everything else, you can kind of fake it a little bit, but those can be kind of tricky to get the proportions right. So if you do find something that fits you perfectly, that's gonna look so much better than something that's really expensive and doesn't fit you perfectly. So if something is past the fabric test, the color test, the pattern test, and then the fit test, and it's within your budget, then you can consider bringing that into your wardrobe. And then the fun part starts, and that's how you can style this so that it feels really personal. And as long as you've considered all of the things that we've gone over so far, chances are you're gonna have a piece that's gonna work really well with your existing wardrobe. And so the fastest way to push that in the direction of feeling really luxe and really expensive looking is to pair it with your intentional color palette that you had in mind. So like this top, for example, I chose this because it's got the mother of pearl details and then also the beautiful off-white, and that goes with a lot of my wardrobe. So pairing it instantly with those colors helps make it feel so intentional and really, really finished. And then also, it's really nice here to play around with your styling options because that's going to give you the flexibility to interpret it how you want. So like this top again, as an example, I've unbuttoned it, I've added my jewelry, of course, and then I've pushed the sleeves up and left it a little bit loose throughout, and that feels perfect for how I'm styling it right now. But you could also tuck this into something, add a belt, you could leave the sleeves longer, and just make sure that you're playing around with this and really allowing your personal expression to come through, because styling is so individual and there's no rules when it comes to styling. It's just how you want something to lay, how you want it to look that day, and then the energy you want that outfit to give off. So experiment and find something that's working for you depending on your mood. And then my last recommendation for the styling that can really elevate a piece, even if you are working at maybe a lower price point, is to pair it with really finished accessories and things that maybe feel a little bit more polished. So a great belt in a beautiful material, great bags, great shoes, those instantly elevate your entire outfit. And as long as the color palette is really intentional and cohesive, that's gonna look so great every single time. So I hope that these tips are helpful for you, and they're things you can keep in mind as you're shopping really anywhere, but definitely as you're manipulating your budget to suit what you're working with, and then how you can bring those pieces into your closet in a way that's going to be very versatile and very fluid for you. So if this is something that you like, definitely let me know if you want me to explore other brands or other concepts. I would love to do that for you. And like always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next one. Have a great day.